Christmas is a ritual, not a holiday. Christmas is often described as joyful, magical, and harmless. It's framed as a time for love, generosity, and togetherness. But few people ever stop to ask why it feels so powerful, or why it affects people's behavior the same way every single year. That consistency isn't accidental. It's a sign of design. Every December, emotions spike, spending increases, and nostalgia and reminiscing hits hard. People reconnect with family they avoided all year. Old memories surface without permission. Then January arrives, and the energy collapses. Resolutions are made, motivation fades, and the cycle resets. Most people accept this as tradition. Very few question the mechanism behind it. Christmas is not just a holiday. It is a ritual. And rituals don't work through belief. They work through repetition, symbolism, and emotion. You don't need faith for a ritual to influence you. You only need participation. Long before Christmas existed, ancient civilizations understood something modern culture ignores. The winter solstice is the most psychologically vulnerable time of the year. Darkness peaks. The nervous system slows down. Humans become more receptive to suggestion. Every culture that understood consciousness placed its most powerful rituals at this exact moment. What we now call Christmas is not a new tradition. It is a continuation of something far older, a seasonal system designed to reset identity, behavior, and collective emotion. And once you see it clearly, you can no longer experience December the same way ever again. The winter solstice marks the shortest day and longest night of the year. For ancient people, this was a moment of real fear. Without the sun, crops failed, animals died, and survival became impossible. So cultures across the world created rituals meant to honor, revive, and celebrate the return of light. These rituals were emotionally intense, repeated yearly, and deeply symbolic. Egypt celebrated the rebirth of Horus. Persia honored Mithra, a sun god born on December 25th. The Norse burned Yule logs and brought evergreen trees indoors as symbols of life and death season. The Romans celebrated Saturnalia, a week-long ritual involving feasting, gift-giving, decoration, and social role reversal. The details differed, but the timing never changed. When Christianity spread, it faced a problem. You cannot erase rituals that have been embedded in human consciousness for thousands of years. So instead of removing them, a new story was layered on top. December 25th was not chosen because of historical accuracy. It was chosen because the emotional infrastructure already existed. The ritual worked. The symbols worked. Only the name changed. Saturnalia is especially important to understand. Saturn was the Roman god of time, limitation, judgment, and wealth. During Saturnalia, social order flipped temporarily. Gifts were exchanged. Normal rules relaxed. It looked joyful on the surface, but it reinforced hierarchy by reminding people who held power once the celebration ended. This archetype never disappeared. It was rebranded. Santa Claus carries the same core traits: an older figure associated with time, judgment, reward, and surveillance. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He keeps a list. Children are taught that behavior is constantly monitored and that worth is tied to obedience. Even when belief fades, the pattern remains. Every December, this ritual activates the nervous system. Childhood memories resurface because the subconscious recognizes the symbols before logic can intervene. Smells, music, lights, and familiar stories reactivate early emotional imprints. Adults are temporarily pulled back into a more suggestible state, not because they're weak, but because memory bypasses critical thinking. When this happens to billions of people at the same time, something larger occurs. Collective emotion synchronizes. Attention aligns. Research into group coherence and collective consciousness shows that when enough people focus emotionally on the same symbols, measurable changes occur. The body responds. Behavior becomes predictable. Spending spikes. Emotional vulnerability increases. This predictability benefits systems built on consumption and control. A massive portion of annual retail revenue depends on December. Social hierarchy is reinforced as adults return to childhood roles within family structures. Cultural obedience strengthens because opting out feels socially costly. Participation becomes automatic. The cycle does not end on December 25th. January functions as the aftermath. Emotional and financial reserves are depleted. Identity feels unsettled. In that vulnerable state, people are sold the next solution: resolutions, programs, memberships, and self-improvement systems. Most fail not because of weakness, but because they are trying to start something new without recovering from what just ended. Rituals don't just shape the present, they rewrite memory. Each year, childhood experiences are reactivated and reinforced. The emotional weight compounds. That is why Christmas feels heavier as people age, not lighter. The ritual has been running longer. Yet awareness changes everything. Rituals only control behavior when participation is unconscious. Once the mechanism is visible, choice returns. Conscious participation does not require rejection. It requires awareness. Naming emotional triggers creates space. Reducing symbolic overload prevents constant activation. Giving intentionally rather than from guilt preserves energy. Using the solstice as a personal reflection point reclaims the reset for yourself instead of surrendering it to the collective. The power of December does not disappear when it's understood. It becomes usable. The same threshold energy that once drained people can be redirected toward clarity, identity, and intentional living. Christmas does not control people. Unconscious participation does. Rituals only work when they operate in the background, unquestioned and automatic. Once the patterns are visible, December becomes a choice instead of a command. Traditions can be kept or discarded based on alignment, not obligation. Generosity becomes genuine. Connection becomes real. Energy is preserved instead of extracted. This awareness doesn't isolate people from culture. It allows them to move through it without being consumed by it. Participation becomes deliberate. Emotion becomes information instead of instruction. For thousands of years, seasons have been used to shape behavior, identity, and belief. That knowledge never disappeared. It was simply hidden beneath familiarity. Seeing it is not a loss of magic. It's the return of agency. December is here, and it will always be coming. This time, the meaning doesn't have to be inherited. It can be chosen. I hope these words gave you food for thought. I can honestly say that I have been reading books and researching things about Christmas since the mid-1980s. But I kept quiet about a lot of things that I saw. People would get defensive. People would almost get angry and violent. Not physically violent. But I wanted to put that out there, and I wanted you to hear it. And I'm quite sure you've heard this before in some shape or form. And I just want to hear your comments on it. I'm not here to preach to anybody or change anybody's beliefs or their religion or how they associate things. But by now, for me, after all of these decades of kind of knowing this stuff and I see how things go, there's more to Christmas than meets the eye. And those of us in the know that it's not the birthday of Christ. We know that. It's not on the 25th. So how much you want to be hoodwinked, that's up to you. But I'd like for you to bring back or counterattack, we can call it an attack, what you feel. I don't know everything. It's just a few things I researched, and I said, let me finally put it out there and let's vibe on it, because we've got to take our people out of bondage and this repetition of spending money and getting drunk, fornicating and adultery, jealousy, envy, hatred, depression, suicide, murdering. Really, when you look at it, that's what you see around Christmas time. And like I said earlier, it's the darkest time of the year, right? And the new year comes and we get into the resolutions, and that's when gym memberships are pushed as soon as the new year comes. And then we feel bad about the gluttony that we indulged ourselves in. And now we want to get in shape. We buy the membership with such enthusiasm, we'll pay for the whole year. And once January passed or the first 2 weeks passed, we don't ever go. And they made money off of you. So, I don't know. Credit card bills go up higher because lots of times we don't have enough cash on hand to support the Christmas habit of gift giving. And we deal with family and friends that we haven't talked to all year. We reminisce, we have the feel-good fuzzy moments, and then we find ourselves in debt even more. Who benefits from that, right? Is this something real, or is it just something automatic and how we've been programmed? And then we overlay Christmas over this whole ancient ritual. And now we have more force and more power because, you know, you go to church every Sunday or Saturday, depending on what, you know, particular faith, whether you're the Seventh-day Adventist or not. But you have all year now. Now it's Christmas. Now it's the lights and everybody's celebrating this thing. We're all caught up. But there's an underbelly. As I know from working in the jail, Christmas time is a time when there are more arrests, more domestic violence, situations, and like I said, suicides, depression, crime, people stealing, people murdering, people robbing, burglaries, home invasions, just to get a little bit of relief financially so you can buy a gift for someone. So we need to look this thing square in the eye, and maybe this is a start. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you find it interesting, and research yourself. Never be afraid to do that. Many people say they worship a mighty God. Well, the mighty God you worship and acknowledge gave you a mighty brain. And if you're a child of God, then you can move accordingly and dissect things for yourself. But there's so much that's been turned against us that we think we're doing right, and we're moving in an opposite direction that we should be moving into. So let me hear from you. LANCESCURV out. I appreciate your presence here, especially if you got to this point in this video. And I'm on to the next one. Peace.